Hi there, Tom Lavery here, and with 1 week left of the Horse Majeure, a comedy RPG Kickstarter, I thought it would be a good idea to show off the bonus game you get on the reverse side of the zine, Horse Majeure, Off to the Races, a light-hearted, multiplayer, GM-less racing game where up to 4 teams of 2 players can compete in just a standard horse race. Very light-hearted, very chaotic. And I just wanted to show off some of the rules. So it works the same way as the RPG, essentially. Each player per team rolls 1d6 each, and they're trying to get matching dice rolls and follow the instructions along the side. Now, I did have standees in place of these tokens, which I drew for. I don't have a printer at home, so I had to draw them out. Unfortunately, I realized too late that I had drawn them all backwards, so they just get to watch now. Anyway. So let's say team 1 rolls matching dice. That moves them forward until they're in first place. Not so exciting at the beginning, but obviously as you pull out ahead further and further, or the gap becomes wider and wider, that can make massive swings. 1 dice off, move forward 2 spaces. Fairly simple. Two spaces off, swap with the nearest horse ahead of you. So in this case, you'd have third player, nearest horse ahead of them would be player 1. So they would move ahead to there, and player 1 would move back 1 space. 3 off, move forward 1 space, or move another horse back 1 space. Now player 4 hasn't actually moved yet, so I think they would opt to just move ahead, just to keep the momentum going. 4 off, move another horse back 2 spaces, and we're back to player 1 here, and unfortunately for player 2, they're the obvious choice to be moved backwards. So they go all the way back to the start position. 5 off, which is the worst roll you can get, unfortunately for player 2, causes you to fall over, which would knock over all other horses in the same row as you, but player 2, unfortunately, is alone. It does, however, mean their costume rips in half. Player 2 of each team affected moves to the nearest vacant space in their current or adjacent lane. So they would rip here. So now they're straddling 2 lanes. To reattach, they've got to be next to each other and roll 1 successful dice. So that's rolling anything other than a 5 off. If they do that and they're next to each other, they reattach all as well. And that's it for that. Now there's also the powers available for each player, the front player and the back player. They can choose to use them at any time. Now, in this case, player 2, they would be independently choosing because they're disconnected currently, but all the other players, each one's actions would be consequences for both. So in this case, let's say player 1 of team 3, the blue squares, decided to bite player 4 and latch onto them. Yeah. So now they are attached, and they're dragged along on player 4's next move. They can only move if there's space available, so if player 4 rolls, let's say, and rolls 3 off, they get to move forward 1 space. In this instance, they would be dragged along. Now let's say if there was another horse already in this position, they would detach, they wouldn't be able to be connected. So that's one way of shaking them off you. But let's say instead team 4 didn't decide to move forward and instead use their power to kick and force an adjacent player 1 space in the direction they were kicked. So if they did that now, in this case, they would be pushed that way. Now, if the space is occupied, it causes a chain reaction. So let's hypothetically say that we're here. It would push player 1 lane as well. Now, had this gone off, it would be Pac-Man rules and they'd be pushing themselves. Like so. If that does happen, their costume rips and they end up split in half, just like player 2. And that's more or less the full extent of the game. It carries on this way until 1 pair of horses can make it across the full finish line. So, 1 full horse has to make it across the finish line, counting the slowest half to be the end result. Now, that's not to say necessarily that teams, if say they are split in half, can't then change whose team they're on. You might end up with player 1's front half teaming up with player 2's back half. And that's it for Horse Majeure Off to the Races, the free bonus game that's on the inverse side of the zine print. So once you fold it out flat, there it is. I printed out a bigger version just for the demonstration purposes. But yeah, no real loss of detail. You can print them off as big as you like, really, because it's a PDF. No real loss of detail, which is nice. And I hope you enjoy. And until next time, I hope you enjoy Horse Majeure. If you know anyone else that get a kick out of this game, by all means share it. I had a great deal of fun making it, and I hope you enjoy playing it. Thanks. Bye-bye.